Hi, this is Andy from FlipPop. Welcome back to my channel. This is my latest furniture flip project. Today I'm flipping an old TV stand that looks like it came straight out of IKEA. You may have seen it in my videos. I bought it 4 years ago at a hardware store because I liked its height. The piece was a bit dull and outdated, so I decided to give it a brand new look. First, I wanted to add a unique touch to the stand, so I started to build a vinyl record section on the right side. Here you see me measuring the piece. I built that vinyl section last year using particle board scraps. It was functional, but it was a separate piece. Now I'll build a section using plywood. The idea I have in my mind is to make the section a part of the final piece. So I'll cut the planks of plywood using my circular saw. I'll also create new wooden feet. I don't want the feet to be long, I just want some wood accents. Then some sanding with 120 grit to clean and smooth the panels. I am going to paint the piece, so I really need some texture for my paint to adhere. I sanded the feet with 180 grit. The piece will have 6 feet. Then I glued the planks and clamped them before attaching them with screws. That rear panel will make the record stay in place. Then it was time for some repairs. The nails were very easy to get rid of. Then I fixed the hole I had improvised a couple of years ago for cable management. Then I cleaned everything with an all-purpose cleaner and some paper towel. Then it was time to remove the doors and the hardware. As you can see, it is all laminate. After cutting that excess, I started applying wood filler to the parts that required it. Milo is always inspecting. But he needed to tell me that he loves me. And I love him too. I replaced the back panel and then started removing those plastic feet. I sanded the wood filler and also scuff sanded the doors. I discovered that the new section was a little short, so I added another plywood panel to the bottom to make it match with the rest of the piece. I used wood glue and screws to secure it in place. When both parts were ready, I started to join them. To stain the legs, I mixed some stains: dark walnut and vintage oak. I love the chocolate color I got. To conceal the union between the old piece and the new addition, I mixed up some Bondo and applied it with a putty knife. I sealed the mini legs with some satin poly in spray. Then I sanded the excess putty. I attached the legs using wood glue and screws. If I were to sell this piece, I would have countersunk the screws and then used wood filler to hide them. But as this was for me, I'm not interested in those details. I will always be looking at this piece and enjoying the process. Then I started scuff sanding the piece with a 180 grit sanding sponge. I wiped the dust with a humid rag and then started to glue these pieces of trim. Here they are called latticed molding, and they are quite cheap considering the exorbitant prices of wood these days. The process might be tedious at times because as I don't have many clamps, I had to stop twice and let the glue dry overnight before continuing. If you have arrived this far, consider liking this video for the almighty YouTube algorithm to show it to more people. You may also consider subscribing and becoming part of this channel as a member or as a subscriber. When all the trim slats were dry and ready, it was time to smooth the surface with 120 grit. There was a lot of dry glue to sand. I'd like to thank everybody who has invited me a coffee via the Buy Me a Coffee platform. All that money will be saved in order to buy new tools such as a carbide scraper or an SSD for my videos. You can find the link to the Buy Me a Coffee platform in the description below. I didn't film when I applied wood filler, but the day was so hot that it got dry in minutes. After getting rid of all the glue, it was time to start staining the top. I want the top a little lighter, so I mixed in some colonial maple to brighten up the stain a little. As usual, I applied it with a foam brush and then wiped away the excess using some paper towel. As the top is a little wider than the original surface, I'll secure the new wood with these square brackets. Before painting the piece, I covered the border of the wood with some painter's tape. I started painting the entire piece with a custom dark blue chalk paint to give it a bold but classic look. I gave the piece 2 coats of paint. You can see the fan running in the background. It was a very hot day. I painted the hardware in gold to add some extra shine and make it stand out even more. To protect and seal the wood, I applied Otis oil, which gives it a beautiful satin finish. This was my first time using it, and I must confess that I bought it just because Angie over at Transcend Furniture Gallery uses it a lot. To apply Otis Universal Oil, I used a Scotch-Brite pad. This thing smells delicious. You apply it with circular movements and try to make the oil penetrate the wood. This is the first time using this product and my apartment smells so good, so I'll probably be using it more. After an hour, you must wipe away the excess. This is the most important step when using Otis oil. I used an old towel to get rid of the excess and to polish the surface. The next day I sanded lightly with 240 grit and then got rid of the dust. Then it was time to seal the chalk paint. I applied, as always, Varathane's water-based polyurethane in a satin finish. This gives it a durable and long-lasting seal, so it can withstand everyday use. I applied the top coat inside and outside and gave the piece a total of 2 coats. The following day, it was time to start reattaching the hardware. And that's it. With just a few simple changes, this old and dull TV stand is now a bold and beautiful piece that will look amazing in any room. Thanks for watching. If you liked this flip, you can check this other video on the right.